bound coming away from the 405. It's busy, but a little lighter volume there. So let's see what he does here. He has some choices to make.
Well, right now there isn't much traffic, so in many ways, I guess that's good news because not many people are involved on the freeway right now.
Yeah, but that's about
exactly
to change.
Right, Roxy. And it looks like he's staying still with the 405 south here.
And that's going to change, right? I mean,
yep, this is the split with the 101, so he's going to be on the 405, and the traffic pattern is absolutely going to change here.
Sure.
There's the merge with the 101 coming onto the southbound 405, and this is where it really clogs up. This is that bottleneck.
Slower
start to see the slowing.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can see it
and it'll
happening.
really start to slow just past the 101 up by Ventura Boulevard, and then up the hill, it's a crawl.
Oh, this is interesting.
So this is where he's gonna run into some problems slowing down. He's gonna probably get we'll see if he gets a little bit more reckless in terms of trying to meander in and out of traffic. He's in the carpool lane now, which the volume is lighter here. And I'll tell you what, the 405 southbound, even though it is slowing and it's a bit busy, not as heavy as it could be. So it looks like he can still keep moving, maybe only at about 10 or 15 miles an hour in pockets, but not at the 75, 80 miles an hour that he was going on the South 405 coming away from the 118 like he was just a few minutes ago.
Although with his taking the carpool lane, he seems to have given himself a lot more room to maneuver.
That's exactly right. And looking up ahead, it looks like the carpool lane stays a bit light. Where it really looks like it crunches up just before Mulholland. That's where it looks like all lanes are moving at about 10 or 15 miles per hour. But he's staying with the 405, and he really doesn't have much in the way of choices now except to stay on the 405 freeway all the way to the west side on the other side of the hill. All right, I can see the driver now. It looks like he's playing with some stuff inside, I don't know, a shirt or something inside the car there. I still can't tell if there's anybody with him, a passenger or anybody in the back seat. Again, answering your question, Roxy, it looks like definitely like an older model SUV here. You could see the water damage, the rust perhaps
roof.
On top of the SUV.
Yeah, it's much more clear right now. Yeah, it definitely is an older model car. It looks, I don't know, Rick, it kind of looks like he has a passenger with him.
Yeah, it looks like there could be. You're right. I'm trying to get a better look as well from the little monitor that I have up here.
The one thing we do know, Rick, the one thing we do know that police don't know is whether this guy might be armed, and you have to treat this as if this is, this guy is an armed suspect.
You're absolutely right.
Is
everybody who runs like this, who does not listen to officers, this guy had the opportunity to pull over. They lit him up. They told him to pull over. He chose not to. All right, this is the area I was talking about, coming up towards the top of the pass here, up by the Mulholland Bridge, under construction, as we've been telling you guys about over the last several months. This is where traffic really slows. So now he's forced to slow down as well. There is an LAPD helicopter up here following as well. There's a CHP unit trailing. This started in the LAPD jurisdiction of the San Fernando Valley. And to reset this, it started at about 10:10 this morning as a stolen car at Magnolia. Okay, now he swerved across lanes there, back into the carpool lane.
And again, this kind of erratic driving just makes it all the more dangerous.
And if people are going to ask, all right, what about a spike strip or the pit maneuver? You just can't do it in this type of traffic. You don't have enough warning. You don't have an open freeway here. If you attempt a pit maneuver here, you could throw that car into somebody else and injure them.
Ooh.
Southbound 405, right at the top of the pass here. Mulholland now going to make the drive down the hill towards the Brentwood, Bel Air, West LA side of the hill here, and the traffic picks up a little bit coming down the hill again. Again, this is not a bad drive for Wednesday this time of morning, and I typically get on the 405 by about 11 o'clock coming back from Van Nuys, and it's usually a lot busier than this. So this guy has it a bit lighter than usual.
And usually with these types of cases, they end up going to a neighborhood or an area they're familiar with. Of course, at this point, we don't know where he's going. Maybe he doesn't even know where he's going. But oftentimes when you've dealt with these kind of stories, Rick, that's what ends up happening, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, they like to go where they're comfortable with, what they're comfortable with. And that is, areas that they know. They'll go back into a neighborhood here. We're seeing some activity, some other activity to the north of us, and trying to figure out if there's a separate scene here, if something else happened here. But we're staying on this SUV that's being pursued by CHP officers, starting in the San Fernando Valley here, in the carpool lane, having to slow down to about 10, 15 miles an hour at times. Now he's going at about 35, 40 miles an hour.
Which is considerably slower than what he was traveling, and it's just because we are now seeing a larger volume of traffic.
It's just all about the volume. Now, once he hits about Sunset, it's going to open up again. The traffic volume gets a little bit lighter. He'll be able to pick up speeds there, and then he'll have a lot of options to get off the freeway, maybe at Sunset, Wilshire, Santa Monica, pick up the 10, go west towards Santa Monica, or east back towards downtown Los Angeles. I'm gonna hold off with you guys for just a minute. You guys pick this up. I'm gonna get some information here about something else that we're watching here. I'll pick it up with you guys in just a second.
Okay.
All right, and we will recap what we're seeing here. Basically, this is a pursuit that started, we believe this is a stolen SUV. It started at Magnolia and Van Nuys. Police saw this SUV, realized that it was possibly reported as stolen, tried to get the guy to stop, and he would not stop, and that pursuit has been going on since then. About 10 minutes after 10 is when we became aware of the pursuit, so it's been going on almost half an hour now, which means it is an extremely dangerous situation. This guy is now on the 405 freeway. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. He's been traveling at speeds of 70 miles an hour at his fastest, and has had to slow down periodically because of the increasing volume of traffic here on the 405 freeway, which I'm sure anybody who's traveled on the 405 freeway is especially familiar with.
And he's coming up on Getty Center now, guys. So we're almost down the hill, Getty Center, and then Sunset here, and that's where I see the freeway really open up. You can pick speeds up to 55, 65 miles an hour as you make your way south down the 405 towards the 10. But now he has some ramps. I mean, he could have tried to exit up there at the top of the pass, but probably not a wise choice. I think he wants to make his way into an area where he has more choices and he can evade police. At least that's what he's thinking. And that's what he's trying to do here. People continually ask, why do they do this? Well, they're delaying going to jail. We don't know what this guy's wanted for. He could have a long criminal record here. He could be a 3-striker. Bottom line is that he's trying to evade police. They're trying to catch up to him. They've given him multiple chances to pull him over. And as you can see, speeds are picking up now as we make our way out of the Sepulveda Pass into West Los Angeles.
And it looked as though one officer was trying to do something there as he pulled up alongside of him.
Yeah, I think he's trying to squeeze him here a little bit. He's, again, very, kind of a sketchy thing to do here with this type of volume. But these guys are highly trained. They know what they're doing. They're looking for an opportunity to end this and end it safely.
And quickly.
Now, they don't have an opportunity to lay down a strip to flatten his tires, obviously, here. In an area where the freeway isn't as congested, perhaps outside of L.A., during commute hours, when we don't have the peak commute type of traffic, they try those types of maneuvers. That's Sunset, by the way. We just went underneath Sunset Boulevard, southbound side of the 405 here, coming through West LA now.
And you keep...
Okay, here he comes up against him.
Yeah. And you keep seeing the guy there fiddling with something. We're not sure what it is.
Like papers or something, by the dashboard.
Yeah, we don't know. I haven't seen him throw anything out the window. We've seen a lot of suspects do that in the past. You can see he's kind of straddling the double line there between the carpool lane and the main lines, the far left lane there. And look at that. He just cut across and picking up speed here, trying to get away. And again, the officers will back off somewhat because they know that this guy is erratic. They see the volume up ahead. And a lot of times, Tony and Roxy, the drivers up ahead just don't know. I mean, they have their radio on. Maybe they have their Bluetooth going. This comes up from them at a very quick pace behind them, and they don't even see it. So they have to be careful of that. Obviously their lights are blaring. The lights are on and their sirens are blaring so that they can give motorists a chance to see what's coming up from behind. But this is quite dangerous here, but they want to end this as safely as possible.
And this may be a good time to point out that there is minimal prison time for doing this, for evading police.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And what they can do, they can write down every single moving violation that this suspect committed along the way and write him up for all of those infractions as well, Tony, adding to the list.
You know, it's interesting, Rick. We saw the police car twice get really, really close to this car, you know, come right up against him and then back off. And now it seems like the police car is keeping a very good distance. And you pointed out that's because they sense that this guy or woman, whoever's in the car, the driver, is behaving in an erratic way. So they want to keep their distance. Maybe they're sensing it's not. Oh, actually, he's approaching again.
And here he comes again.
Yeah.
And sometimes what they'll do in this situation, they're going to get a surveillance on what's going on there. Is it just the driver? Are there other suspects in there? What is he, you know, fiddling with in the car there, Tony and Arax? Yeah, they want to see what they're dealing with. That unit right there is going to relay that to crews behind him, to crews up ahead. And a lot of times what officers will do is they will deploy CHP units in advance of the pursuit to make sure that they hold traffic back, possibly to open up the freeway somewhat, so that will give the officers more options, maybe to try that pit maneuver, to try to spin him out and end this pursuit.
And I can
Southbound side of the 405, coming up by the 10 now. Let's see what he does.
And I can tell you, he has his blinkers or his driver's side turn signal on.
Oh, you can see it?
I saw that.
There you go. So he won't get written up for that one, I guess. See, there you go. There's a unit sit right there, just waiting there, watching, and it looks like he's going to make the transition, guys. It looks like he's going to go on the – I was getting off the freeway, coming up towards the west side here, not far from where the Fox 11 studios are. You guys know this ramp. This is at Sawtell. Now, let's see what happens. He doesn't have really anywhere to go. He's going to squeeze through there. This is really dangerous, and again, we don't know if this suspect is armed. Bam! There he goes. He hit him right there. He had the chance. Look at that, boxing him in. Now let's see what happens. This is a dangerous situation here. They're going to tell this guy to get out. Arms visible, and there he goes. Hands are up. Hands are up. Let's see if this ends. But guns drawn, and they are telling him, they are giving him verbal commands. Put your hands in plain view. They're going to tell him to get out slowly. Hands up. They're going to lay him out on the roadway here, and then one officer will come up and cuff him. Let's see how this goes. And then they're going to have to make sure that there's nobody else in the car. Right off the freeway here of the 405, took the Sawtell off-ramp here. Backing up, it looks like he is complying. Arms up. Again, this started about 10 after 10 this morning in the valley, in the Van Nuys area, as a stolen car, that SUV. Backing up to officers, guns drawn still. He's doing exactly what he's told. And then they'll tell him to lay down flat on the road.
It looks like he was the only one in the car then, huh?
Right arm down. Not yet. We don't know yet. All right, they're just going to cuff him standing up. I haven't seen that very often.
Usually you're right, Rick. Usually they want
left hand on the head. Now another unit will go up to the car and check it. And then if we see that officer clear the automobile, he'll put up his 4 fingers, meaning code 4 here. But this is an SUV. They got to make sure the back is clear as well. Guns drawn. A very dramatic scene here in West LA, the termination of this pursuit. And thankfully, what a great job by that CHP officer doing that pit maneuver, right?
Yeah, they were so quick.
Right at that moment. That is, and I'll tell you what, guys, I see these guys train for this. There's a training facility right off the 5 and the 405, the north end of the valley. They do it in all kinds of conditions. They wet down the road. They have a traffic pattern that's very heavy to test those types of maneuvers. And that guy was amazing. That officer was in pulling that pit maneuver off and not hurting anybody else or spinning the car out into anybody else.
Well, once again, we want to point out,
it looks like the car is clear.
If he, in fact, is convicted of stealing a vehicle, that may end up being one of the least of his problems, because he's going to add on a lot of extra prison time because of what he did.
That's exactly right. Thankfully, a safe conclusion, and as we know, we did not see anybody else injured in this incident.
Yeah, that is a good point, because he was going very, very fast and he made a couple dangerous moves. But wow, how fast they were. As soon as he exited it, just in an instant, they acted on that.
Well, they took advantage of the fact that he was making that sharp right turn off the ramp. So he was already making that turn, and then they clipped him and spun him out. Much easier than if they were both going the same direction.
And he was the only one in the car.
Yep, that's what it looks like. They threw up the 4 fingers, code 4, and he'll be heading off to jail.
And once again, Rick, this pursuit ended up lasting, what, 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes?
That's exactly right. And what we're going to do is we're going to replay that pit maneuver for you.
Okay.
Pursuit intervention technique, that's the acronym. And you'll see how this ended here off the 405 freeway southbound. at Sawtell here. We'll have it for you in just a minute here. This investigation will last. They try to clear these scenes here rather quickly to reopen traffic. This ramp obviously blocked for the time being, and Sawtell is as well, but probably in another 10 or 15 minutes it will be open here. So we're queuing up that the end of the pursuit here. Here it comes. All right, here we go. All right, we're going to queue this up, and here it goes. This is the off ramp. Here's the sharp ramp. Very tight, busy traffic, red light here. And then he tries to make the right turn or the northbound turn here, and that's when the off. Watch this. Look at this. My chance. Bam. Good. And he even avoided that white pickup truck. That's CHP officer. Good job.
Yeah, no question about it. That officer was spot on with his pit maneuver.
Good job. All right, we'll show this to you one more time, the pit maneuver. We're going to rewind it here. He decided to get off the 405 freeway here. Why? This is a busy part of West LA, Tony and Roxy. You know it. You know what goes through these guys' heads? We don't know. Whether or not he was armed or not, that's unknown at this time. Here he comes, making the exit here. Off the 405 freeway south, just before the 10 freeway here at Sawtell. And there was a light, a red light. All the lanes were taken up. He still was able to squeak through traffic there and then make a right turn or a northbound turn. And that is when that CHP officer said, this is my chance here. And he pulled off that pit maneuver perfectly, beautifully.
And it really is incredible that that white truck was not hit, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Glad that the CHP officer was able to bring this to a successful conclusion. We'll have the latest details.